We're all looking for it, right? That feeling of balance in a world that's constantly pulling us in a million different directions. But what if the secret isn't out there in all the chaos? What if it's somewhere deeper inside? Today, we're going to dive into this idea, the art of internal mastery, of finding balance from within.
The amazing soprano Jessye Norman she absolutely nailed it with this quote. This is the tension of modern life, isn't it? It's this constant tug of war between what we have to do for others and what we need to do for ourselves. We feel it every single day.
And that's really the big question we're tackling here. What if finding balance isn't about having the perfect calendar or setting just the right boundaries? What if the real work, the real source of that peace we're all after, isn't in our external world at all, but right here, inside our own minds?
So, to even begin this journey, we have to start by tearing down a huge myth that so many of us live by. It's this illusion that external things can somehow fix our internal problems.
It's such a tempting idea, right? If I just get that promotion, if I just buy that house, if I can just hit that number in my bank account, then the anxiety will stop. Then I can finally relax. We're always chasing this, believing that peace is just one more achievement away.
What's so wild is who said this. This wasn't some modern self-help guru. This was Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. I mean, think about it. The most powerful man on earth. He had everything, unlimited resources, ultimate authority, and he still struggled with anxiety. He figured out that the source of his turmoil wasn't his massive empire, it was his own internal state.
And this story just illustrates the point perfectly. So the writer Joseph Heller is at this ridiculously lavish party, right? And someone points out that their billionaire host made more money in a single day than Heller's famous novel, Catch-22, had earned in its entire history. And Heller's response was just brilliant. He said, "Yeah, but I've got something he can never have, the knowledge that I've got enough." In that moment, surrounded by all that wealth, Heller was, without a doubt, the richer man.
There's actually a name for this whole phenomenon. It's called the hedonic treadmill. It's this psychological trap where, we get a quick high from a new achievement, but then our baseline happiness just snaps right back to where it was, and we're left chasing the next thing. We're forever running, but we never, ever feel like we've arrived.
So if the answer isn't out there, then we have no choice but to turn inward. And that brings us to how we actually build this inner mastery. And let me tell you, it's not about some big, dramatic moment of enlightenment. It's about the daily, kind of messy, totally imperfect reality of just practicing.
Bruce Lee gives us the perfect way to think about this whole journey. It's not about achieving some flawless state of Zen where nothing ever bothers you. It's about the direction you're heading, not the final destination. The act of aiming, of just trying, is what changes us, whether we hit the bullseye or not.
Oh man, this is so important. If you actually want to succeed at this, you have to be realistic. Set the bar low enough that you can actually clear it. Today. This isn't about some life-altering retreat on a mountaintop. It's about showing up on a Tuesday morning when you're tired and you just don't feel like it. It's the sum total of all those tiny decisions that builds real momentum over time.
Okay, so here's a really concrete tool you can use, and it comes from the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. The next time you feel a strong temptation or impulse, don't just react. First, just pause. Give yourself a second. Then, play the movie forward in your head. Imagine the quick pleasure, sure, but also imagine the feeling of regret that's going to follow, and then compare that whole messy feeling to the quiet, lasting satisfaction of knowing you made the better choice. And when you practice this, something pretty incredible starts to happen. This is the key. Once we really connect our impulses with their consequences, discipline stops feeling like you're punishing yourself, like you're depriving yourself of something. It starts to feel like an act of self-respect. The restraint itself actually becomes the reward.
Okay, now for a really fascinating paradox. All this deep internal work, you'd think it would make us more isolated, right? But it's actually the complete opposite. It's the very thing that allows us to connect more deeply and meaningfully with other people.
Daniel Coyle points out that one of the best ways to truly master something is to try and teach it to someone else. When you have to explain an idea, it forces you to get crystal clear on it in your own mind. It turns out that doers who also teach just end up doing better.
And get this, an incredible quote from Charles Darwin, of all people. We always misinterpret his whole survival of the fittest idea as this cutthroat, every man for himself competition. But Darwin himself argued that our greatest strengths as a species are our intelligence, our sense of morality, and most importantly, our ability to cooperate with each other.
So you see how it all weaves together, right? Our growth is not a solo mission, it's a team sport. Admitting we don't know something isn't a weakness, it's an invitation for help, for connection. When we work together, the whole community gets lifted up.
And finally, Archbishop Desmond Tutu gives us the real heart of it all, the animating force behind everything, love. Recognizing our shared humanity, seeing ourselves in others, that's what gives all this internal work its purpose. It's what turns self-improvement into genuine service to the world.
All right, so we've torn down the myth of external solutions, we've looked at the nitty-gritty of internal practice, and we've seen how it all connects back to other people. Now, let's bring it all home. Let's talk about how we can actually apply this, day by day.
At the end of the day, this is the fundamental choice that's in front of us every single morning. The world around us, with all its pressures, will always be trying to shape us, to make us conform. The question is, are we going to let it? Or are we going to choose to hold true to our own internal compass?
There's this powerful example of the Stoic Cato. Corrupt politicians sent him to this place that was notorious for bribery and excess. Their hope was that the environment would corrupt him too, that he'd be tamed, but he refused. He refused to be stained by the world around him. He came back completely unchanged, having chosen his own internal state over his external circumstances.
But you know, there's this old Spanish proverb that's a really important reality check. From words to deeds is a long way. And it's so true. Understanding all these ideas is one thing, but actually living them, that's another thing entirely. There's a long road between knowing the path and actually walking it. But here is the most hopeful, most powerful idea of all. Every single morning, you get a clean slate. You are literally reborn. The mistakes you made yesterday, they don't have to define the choices you make today. Each day is a new birth, a fresh opportunity to begin again.
So this is what it all boils down to. This is the core message. Real, lasting balance, it isn't found by rearranging the world outside of you. It's found in the small choices you make inside you every day. It's that moment when you discover that you have enough on the inside, that you're full enough, that you can finally give freely and joyfully to others. That is true wealth. That is true balance.
So, let's just leave it with that. A simple, powerful thought. The conditions don't have to be perfect. The game of life is happening right now, and today is a beautiful day for it. So let's get out there and let's play.